Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Only One Theme talk session. And today's talk is on navigating funding opportunities for patent filing in India. Our speaker for today is my colleague Archana Joshi, who is manager for IP and agreement services at TechX.in at Venture Center. Archana has more than 12 years of experience in the IPR domain. She is handling crucial inventor facing role at the Venture Center and has experience in drafting, filing, prosecuting and maintenance of patents, trademarks, and industrial designs. She has provided reports and opinions related to technology assessment for assessing commercial potential, outlining institutional IP, policy content, preliminary patent due diligence, and so on. Archana's role additionally includes drafting and vetting various types of agreements, such as option agreement, preliminary licensing agreement, NDAs, MTAs, MOUs, product distribution agreements, technology transfer agreements, and policies. She has been a resource person for topics related to IPR and has conducted more than 45 IPR awareness talks and on-site seminars at various institutions and organizations. Archana has also played a role for startups, individuals, and SMEs in providing mentoring related to IP strategy, agreements, filings, and prosecution strategies. With this brief introduction, Archana, welcome to the session and handing over the session to you. Thank you, Mugdha, for the introduction. I will just share my screen. Good afternoon, everybody. Today's talk, we will focus on what all the funding opportunities available in India for filing patents and other IPs. I think all of you have very much knowledge about what exactly is the patent and what is the prosecution timelines involved therein and the cost associated with it. But those who are not aware of this, I will just quickly go through the patent and its procedures and the cost associated at various stages. So, patent, as far as patent is concerned, it is a territorial exclusive right granted by the government to the applicants or the inventors in consideration of disclosure of their invention.
Archana, can I interrupt?
Yes, sir.
You're not on full screen yet.
Okay.
Share the screen instead of the window.
Sure, sure.
The slides are not changing, okay?
Okay, sure. We'll check. स्क्रीन वाला विंडो शेयर कर
Can you go full screen, please?
Sorry for that technical glitch. So we'll start with the top. Yeah. So the funding opportunities for patent filing in India. So we will see what exactly is the patent and different types of applications so that you will come to know the timelines associated with it and the cost associated with the patent. So there are various types of applications. Once you file the provisional specification, then that is called as ordinary patent application when you file only in India to secure your first filing date. Then in order to file in other countries, there are two pathways. First is the convention application, which is wherein the Paris Convention route is followed by the applicant to file the patent application in different territories or in different nations. So that is called as convention application. It has to be filed within 12 months from the provisional filing date. Another route is PCT application. This is a single patent application can be filed in order to seek the protection for your invention in more than 158 member countries. So PCT is a patent cooperation treaty wherein 158 countries in the world are party to that particular treaty. It gives the applicant 30 or 31 months timeline to enter into various national phases. And what are the benefits of the PCT application? It will delay the expenses associated with applying for in various national phases, and it provides the international search report as well. So we will see this particular thing when we go to the next slide. So this is a particular timeline you need to check. First is the 0 month. You can file an application. For example, in India, as an Indian company or Indian citizen or Indian institution, you have to first file in India that to secure the first filing date. That is called as the provisional filing, provisional specification. So your time or your timeline will start from that particular date. We can consider it as a 0 month. So from that particular date, you have to file the PCT application or you have to file the complete specification at the Indian Patent Office also. For both, the timeline is same. So please note this, like for filing the complete specification with respect to provisional, the timeline is 12 months from the date of filing of provisional specification, and for filing PCT application, 12 months. That is the same deadline you have to follow. When do you need the funds basically? So we will see that what all funding opportunities are available and what are the costs associated at various stages. But as far as the funding is concerned, you may need the funding at initial stage as well. You may need the funding at the stage of filing complete and PCT, that is after 12 months from the filing first application. And you will also need the funding at the end of 30th month, 30. So wherein you will enter into the various national. So these three timelines you have to please keep in mind, wherein various funding opportunities are also available and you need to plan accordingly. So this is a patent prosecution flow. Once you file the provisional specification, then you have to file the complete specification. Otherwise, your provisional will be abandoned by the patent office. And you can also file the PCT application at the end of 12 months. So 12-month period or 1 year period is very, very important. And your clock starts with the filing of provisional specification. Within 18 months, automatic publication is there. Publication by the patent office. It will come into the public domain. Patent office publishes journal on each Friday. So the abstract of your complete specification will be published. Patent office never published the provisional specification. Once you file the complete specification, then only it will come into the public domain. So the timeline for that also, the 18 months are calculated from the date of filing provisional. So the date of filing of provisional specification is very, very important. Then within 31 months from the date of filing of provisional, you need to file the request for examination. So there are two routes. Either you can file the normal request for examination or you can expedite your application. So the fees are higher for expedited examination request. For publication also, there is one option that you can expedite the publication. After examination, first examination report will be issued by the patent office. You need to respond to that first examination report within 6 months. And if it is in compliance, then patent will be granted by the patent office, or another examination report will be issued, or hearing will be there. And after satisfying all the objections and responding to them, the patent will be granted or rejected. So this is a typical timeline which is followed by the Indian Patent Office and most of the patent offices in the world. Yes, so this is the cost of filing a patent. So I am talking about patent right now. So various funding programs, in some funding programs, other IPs, for example, design and trademarks are also considered. I will go through all these things so that you will come to know what all costs associated with all these IPs. So as far as patents are concerned, there are two filing options available. First is e-filing and physical filing. Nowadays, most of the patents have been filed by e-filing mode only. So physical filing, in case if you don't have the e-filing account, or if you don't have any attorney who has assisted you to draft and file the patent at the patent office, in that case, you can go and physically file the patent at the patent office. First is on application for a patent. Once you file the provisional specification, you have to pay the fees. Via e-filing mode, 1,600 for natural persons, startups, small entities, and educational institutions. So all these are considered under one category, and others, for example, the MNCs or any other companies who are not who do not have any Udyog registration or DPIIT registration, etc., then they have to pay extra fees. For example, 8,000 rupees for filing the provisional specification. So this is for e-filing. For physical filing, 1,750, and for others, 8,800 rupees. So for e-filing, patent office gives around 10% reduction in fees because the paperless prosecution they have to handle. Then for each sheet, in addition to 30, 160 rupees for first category, natural person startup, and 800 rupees for others. Say, I will not read the fees for physical filing. So all the fees I have mentioned in this slide. And for each claim, in addition to 10, we have to pay extra. Like for first category, we have to pay 320 rupees, and for others, 1,600. Then request for early publication, 2,500 is the fee for the first category. Yeah. And for other category, 12,500 rupees. So these are the fees associated with the patent filing. There are some other fees as well. Like on request for examination, like I showed you the typical timeline. Request for examination, you have to file the request for examination, that is mandatory, within 31 months from the date of filing of provisional. In that case, the fees are 4,000 rupees for natural person, startup, and small entities, educational institution, and for others 20,000 rupees if you go by e-filing mode. So this is the normal request for examination. You can file the request for examination at the time of filing complete specification as well, not at the time of filing provisional, at the time of filing complete specification. But this is not considered as the expedited route. Patent office will assign the examiners based on their the technical domain of your invention, and it will stand in a queue. Your application will stand in a queue, and when it comes to the examination of the patent application, then they will issue the first examination report. So typically it will take more than 3 years if you go by normal request for examination. But if you file the expedited request for examination, then the examination of your patent application will be examined at earliest by the patent office, and they will
it will disposed by the patent office at earliest as well. So I can say within 1 year and 1.5 years, you will get the grant certificate or your application will be rejected by the patent office. So if you want to go by the expedited route, but obviously the fees for the expedited route are higher on the higher side, like 8,000 rupees you have to pay if you want to go for the expedited examination, and 60,000 rupees for others. And on conversion of request for examination to request for expedited examination, you can also convert. Suppose first you file the normal request, and after some time you feel that I have to go with the expedited route, then you can convert this normal request to expedited request by paying the 4,000 rupees fee, or in others, in case of others, 40,000 rupees is the. So these are the fees associated with the patent, and yes, so I have also included the, once you go for filing the PCT application, I have also included the fees associated with PCT application. So there are competent receiving office is Indian Patent Office, that is called as ROIN, that is Regional Office India, and you can also file the PCT application to International Bureau. So there are two routes. Language of filing can be English, Hindi, or at ROIB, if you are directly filing the PCT application at International Bureau, any language is required. Then what are the elements of international application? Request should be there. Then description, one or more claims, abstract, drawings, and obviously the fees. Number of copies required, 3 to the patent offices in case of physical filing. PCT will also provide the concession in fees for if you are filing through e-filing mode. Competent international search authority. So the applicant needs to choose at least one international search authority to examine your PCT application. So what that search authority will do, the search authority will examine the patent application based on the novelty, non-obviousness, and industrial applicability criteria with respect to the prior art cited there. So the ISR, that is International Search Report, will be issued once the examination is done by these particular ISA. So at least one ISA we have to choose. There are 2 fees involved in PCT application. So first is international filing fee, and another is ISA fee, that is International Search Authority fee, to do the search. So I have mentioned the link over there wherein the recent fees are involved. International filing fee, you have to pay in US dollars at a particular in Indian bank only. So once you file the PCT application, patent office will issue the letter that is called as demand letter, wherein fees details will be there. So at the time of filing PCT application, you don't need to pay the fee at that time, but within 1 month, these fees are payable. Otherwise, your application will not be treated as a filed application and it will be abandoned. So fees per sheet over 30, then 18 US dollars are there. Yes, there is a reduction for e-filing to 41 US dollars are there. And competent ISAs for us, like for India, like Austria, Australia, China, Sweden, US, European Patent Office, Indian Patent Office, and Japan. So based on the search authority you choose, the fees will, you have to pay the fees also. So these are the fees, like for Austria, $2,094, then $1,383 for Australia, for China, $294 US dollars, for Europe, $2,154 US dollars, in India, 10,000 rupees for others, and 2,500 rupees. This is the search fee for India. For startups, individuals, SMEs, or educational institutions, they choose India as a search authority, then they have to pay 2,500 rupees only. For Japan, 1,125, for Sweden, 2,154, and for United States, 480 US dollars. So there is a 75 reduction if the applicant is a natural person, that means the individual. Yes, so that was about the patent filing fees in India and PCT. So those are the fees involved from, at various stages of the patent prosecution. So some funding agencies, they provide the funding for design as well as trademark. So these are also another form of IP. For industrial design application, the registration or the filing fee is 1,000 rupees for natural persons, startups, and small entities, and for others, it is 4,000 rupees. Please note that if the educational institution wants to file the design application, they have to pay 4,000 rupees and not 1,000, because in case of design filing, educational institutions are covered under others category. In case of trademark filing fee, the filing fees are, there are two modes, obviously, for e-filing and for physical filing. For physical filing, the charges are slightly higher than e-filing. Once you file the trademark, you have to file at least in one class. So the application for registration of a trademark or collective mark, certification mark, or the series trademark. So these are the fees applicable for one class, one trademark in one class. That means you can file one trademark in multiple classes. Accordingly, your fees will increase. Like for individual startups and small enterprises, for e-filing mode, if you are filing the trademark application in one class, then 4,500 rupees is the fee, and for others, 9,000 rupees is the fee. Here also, if the educational institution or research institutions are there, then you have to pay 9,000 rupees per class for the trademark.
Or design filing fee, what kind of things will come in that?
Yeah, so the industrial design fee. So yeah, so this is another form of IPR. So wherein you can file the industrial design for your product. Suppose if the product is there and the design is very unique in nature, and if you want to file or you want to protect that particular design, then there is another IP that is called, that is another form of IPR.
I mean, it's basically for like industries, or the educational institute also can do that, designing file.
No, anyone can file. Anyone can file. So that's what the category mentioned.
Questions? Take that.
Yes, sure.
Abhishek is asking, after getting positive response from PCT, how can I find funding for entering member states? Is the fee less for startup entity as well?
Yeah, so I think we'll first go through the slides and then we will get the questions. Like in case of IPR funding schemes, why these funding schemes are important? Because see, the IPR offices in India, they provide the fee concession, as we have seen. Fee concession for the individuals, SMEs, startups, there is fee concession involved. Then IP, why these funding schemes are required? Because IP obviously play the important role in ensuring the competitive advantage. These initiatives aim to simplify the patenting process, reduce the cost, and provide startups with the tools they need to thrive in a competitive market. Startups can opt for expedited examination as well. As I have already mentioned, there is another route, that is expedited examination, so that it will reduce the time taken to grant the patent, which generally requires several years. This ensures that the startups can quickly commercialize their inventions without the risk of being outpaced by competitors. It will reduce the financial burden on startups for filing and prosecuting IPR, and to encourage the innovation, commercialization, and global competitiveness. So first scheme I would like to highlight is the MSME Innovative. So this is launched by the Ministry of Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises to foster the intellectual property culture in India. It offers one-time financial assistance in the form of reimbursement. So the reimbursement, in the sense, you have to first pay from your pocket and then you can claim the reimbursement. For that, you need to produce, or while filling up the form of the reimbursement, or while filling up the form for this funding, you need to provide the receipts, invoices, the filing, government receipts, as well as the attorney receipts. So please keep those things with you ready.
Eligibility time duration for the reimbursements, like 1 year or something.
Yes, general, I'll go. So the eligibility for this, who can apply for this MSME Innovative? Like micro, small, and medium enterprises with a valid Udyam registration certificate. Okay, you should have the Udyam registration certificate with you. Then type of assistance is the reimbursement for various types of it. It is not giving the reimbursement only for the patent, but for the patent, trademark, geographical indications, or industrial designs. So for these many IPs, they are giving the reimbursement. Then what is excluded? The applicants must submit the self-declaration that they have not claimed funding for the same IP from any other central or state governments. You cannot claim the one thing or the one patent from various funding agencies, so that is required and the undertaking is required. In case of foreign, what kind of assistance they are providing? Like in case of foreign patent, once you go to the national phases, it is called as a foreign patent, like for US patent, JP patent, China patent. So in case of foreign patent, maximum 5 lakh assistance will be provided, the reimbursement. Then for the domestic patent, 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh is provided. For GI registration, rupees 2 lakh assistance will be provided. For design registration, 15,000. And for trademark, 10,000 rupees will be provided for that patent. Regarding this, the timeline, like they have not mentioned a specific timeline on their website, but it is related to the grant of the IP. It is not related to when you file the patent application or trademark, then the reimbursement will not be given. Once the patent or trademark or design is granted by the specific authority, government authority in India, then only you can claim this reimbursement. The timeline specifically they have not mentioned, but I don't think they will give the patent or the trademark which has been granted 10 years back. So it should be in recent years, at least 5 years gap will be there. In some funding agencies, they have provided the timeline like after this date only we will consider. But in some agencies, they have not provided, at least on their website. But once you go through the portal, log in and register and fill up the form, it might come.
So one more question on this.
Yeah.
It's a one-time reimbursement.
Yes.
Each category one time or how so as an entity, if someone buys a foreign patent, domestic patent, GI, can they claim reimbursement under each category, each item?
Yes, suppose XYZ company is there, and if they have filed the patent, trademark, GI, and design and trademark, whatever is there.
I can't claim for 2 GI.
Yes. So only once you can get. So you can get all these things. Next scheme is SIBP scheme for startups. Startups Intellectual Property Protection. It is managed by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, that is DPIIT. You must have heard about this. All these funding schemes are subject to availability of funds because all these are government schemes and they can stop at any time and they can go on hold at any time. So they already put the disclaimer like subject to availability of funds. So these particular funds have been provided by the CGPDTM, that is Controller General of Patent Design and Trademarks. It is extended until 31st March 2026 till now. So the
funds are available till then.
Yes, funds are available till then. Key benefits of this scheme are the government bears the entire professional cost of the empaneled IP facilitators for drafting and filing. See, whatever fees I have mentioned previously, those are the statutory fees. That means you have to pay to the government based on your category. But there are other fees involved, for example, the attorney fees. The attorney who actually help you in drafting and filing that particular IP at the government office. So attorney fees varies on entity to entity, person to person. So I have not included those fees in my slides. So in case of SIBP scheme, so attorney fees are also included, but you have to choose the attorney from their empaneled IP facilitators. So the list of empaneled IP facilitators is available on the IP India website. You can just go through it and you can choose any patent agent or design agent or trademark agent from there, and you can just get it done from their side. What exactly is included over here? The attorney fees will be paid by the government, but the statutory fees, the government fees, the startup or the applicant has to bear. The government fees, which I have showed you just now, that is very nominal in case of first category. In case of design, trademark or patent also, the government fees are very nominal. So those government fees, the applicant has to bear, and the attorney fees, government will take care of. Eligibility, startups must be recognized. This is only for the startups recognized by DPIIT. That means you should have the DPIIT certificate with you. So this is in order to get that DPIT certificate, the eligibility is the startup should be less than 10 years old, and it should be engaged in innovative activities and not be a result of splitting up or reconstructing an existing business like this.
So this turnover,
Yes, the turnover, after that also, after that only, after fulfilling these eligibility criteria, then only DPIT will give you the certificate. So the support from IP facilitators. So DPIT has empaneled IP facilitators who assist startups in preparing filing prosecution. The facilitators are experienced professionals, including patent agent, lawyers, consultants, trademark agents. Their services are offered at no additional cost to the startup, as their fees are borne by the government. The startup must obtain the DPIT certificate. This is the first and foremost criteria. Select the empanel facilitators from the list. The list is provided on the IP India website. A self-declaration confirming they haven't received funds from other government schemes for the same IP. So this is the fee structure, that is the fee structure like professional charges paid by the government. So this is not applicable for the applicant. These are the fee structure which is applicable for the patent agents or trademark agents or design agents, you know. So 15,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees and 3,000 rupees. As per for the respective IPs like patent, trademarks and designs, at the time of filing, the patent agent can claim up to this much amount of. Okay. Then for final disposal without opposition, 25,000 rupees. For trademark, 5,000. For design, 5,000. Final disposal with opposition, 35,000 for patents, 10,000 for trademarks, and 10,000 for designs. So these are the fees the patent agent or trademark agent can claim to the government. So this is the maximum charges they can get from the government. So next is MSINS IPR funding scheme. The scheme is implemented by Maharashtra State Innovation Society to support the recognized startups in protecting their innovations through patents and other IPs in India and abroad. The scheme is formally covered under the Maharashtra Startup Policy 2018 and implemented through government resolutions issued by the government of Maharashtra. As the name suggests, the startups who have registered in Maharashtra state only, they are eligible for this particular scheme. They should have the DPIT registration certificate with them and registered in Maharashtra. The IPR must be owned by the startup. Many times what happens is the IPR is owned by the founder in his name, and the startup company do not have any IPR in the name of company, you know. So the first and foremost criteria, the eligibility criteria they have mentioned is this IPR must be owned by the startup. Then applicable to technology driven and innovative products and processes. What all types of IPR covers? Patents, trademarks, designs and copyrights. For copyrights, it is only restricted to computer programs. What type of support it is giving? The assistance is provided on a reimbursement basis after the IPR is filed or granted, after the date of issuance of guidelines. It's after 2018. Support is provided up to a defined ceiling per startup and subject to the MSINS guidelines and approvals. So basically, this is a reimbursement scheme only for the Maharashtra-based startups, and the IPR must be owned by the startup. So these are the three criteria. The financial assistance that is provided. Up to 80% of the eligible cost for the startup with funding raised below 3 crores. If the startup has not raised any funding and that is below, if that is below 3 crores, then 80% of the eligible cost will be provided by MSINS and 20% the applicant has to pay. In case of the startups with funding raised above 3 crores, then 50%, 50-50, that 50% will be borne by the MSINS and 50% to bear by that. So this is their funding scheme. Or then cap for domestic IPR support. There is also a cap. The reimbursement of cost related to maximum 2 lakhs per startup for domestic IPR support per startup they have mentioned. Like patent, trademark or design filings, you can claim anything, patent, trademark or design, but the cap is mentioned like 2 lakhs per startup. Attorney and professional fees, attorney fees, statutory fees, and any kind of IPR you can claim, but the cap is there like 2 lakhs per startup. Cap for international IPR support, maximum rupees 10 lakh per startup, like international patent filing, whether it is PCT or national phase filing, any US, EP, Japan, China, any patent. Then associated professional fees, legal charges, or any statutory fees you can pay. But for these things, you have to provide the receipts, invoices, bills. Application process. Application is invited through the official MSINS portal. Then you need to submit the DPIT recognition certificate, startup incorporation details, IPR filing documents, and invoices. The MSINS expert committee will evaluate your application. You may need to present your case over there. They will evaluate basically in case, suppose if you want the IPR support for, this is obviously the reimbursement scheme, but if you want the international IPR support, in that case, they will ask you, provide some information regarding the market of your product, the market of your technology in various territories. Why do you want to file, or why have you filed the patent in those territories? So those type of justifications they may ask you. Then disbursement will be done after approval, due diligence, and verification. So all these funding schemes, it will take a long time. Maybe you can consider 6 months. So once you file the provisional specification, then up to the stage of filing complete specification, please check for any funding available for complete specification filing. There are some schemes which I have mentioned. So those schemes will give you the funding for filing the domestic patent. After that, once as and when you file the PCT application, please search for the international IPR support, so that you will file your application at the earliest and you will get the reimbursement at the earliest as well. Yeah, so they mentioned that before proceeding with international application for multiple country filing, necessary due diligence will be done on the total cost of filing and startup fund reserves. So this is done to ensure that the startup has sufficient balance funds beyond the benefits provided through this scheme to support the IPR application. That this thing they have mentioned. Then facilitators, startups may work with the MSINS empaneled facilitators or their own agents. They also have their empaneled facilitators. You can go through their facilitators or you can choose your own. Post-support compliance is also there in most of the government schemes. Like you need to maintain the complete record of the application, then invoices, filing for audit also. They may ask you later on, like once the reimbursement is disbursed, the amount is disbursed, then they may ask you the other things as well. So you have to keep the documentation up to date. Like Maharashtra State Innovation Society, where there is funding available from Karnataka Innovation and Technology Society. The form of support is reimbursement. Cap for reimbursement for domestic patent, 2 lakh per Indian patent awarded. They are mentioned that per patent and not the per startup. Cap for reimbursement international patent on a single subject matter up to rupees 10. So basically the cap remains the same. 2 lakh for domestic and 10 lakh for international patent. The reimbursement will be done in 2 stages. It is not in one-time reimbursement, like 75% after the patent is filed and 25% once the patent is granted. The eligibility criteria is the applicant should be a startup registered with the Karnataka with a valid Karnataka startup sale registration number. Additionally, the startup should be incubated physically or virtually. Only patents.
Incubated in Karnataka.
Yes, incubated in Karnataka. So only patents that have been filed by the startup within validity. So this is not applicable for any other form of IP. This is applicable only for the patents. The applicant should have already filed or been granted a patent with the concerned authority. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have already filed or been granted a patent with the concerned authority. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should have paid the mandatory government fees or attorney fees. The applicant should Then application processes, the eligible startups need to submit the application in the prescribed format along with the documentation mentioned in the format to the Karnataka Startup Cell. The application process remains the same. You need to fill up the form and then provide all the documents, provide justification, etc. And from their side also, they have to do the due diligence. They have to form a committee, and your application will be screened. So the application and approval process is more or less same in each funding program. The mandatory documents they have mentioned is KBITS registration number, then duly filled forms as applicable to Annexure 1 and 2, copy of patent filed at the appropriate authority, certificate of patent grant. Once the patent is filed, you will get the receipt kind of thing, wherein the patent number and the date is mentioned. But once the patent is granted, you will get the patent grant certificate. Detailed statement of expenses incurred towards the patent registration along with the copies of invoices and receipts. Then all invoices submitted by the appropriate patent authority towards government fees and toward patent agents. The certificate of patent with valid serial number must be furnished. On receipt of all necessary documents, KITS will duly analyze the application for eligibility, post-review and assessment. KITS will arrive at the quantum of reimbursement due to the payment due and payment. This is another funding program like Kalam program of IP literacy and awareness. So this is initiative of Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, and mode of funding is reimbursement. So this is somewhat different program than what we discussed till now. So this is the eligibility for this program is higher education institutes and not the startups or SMEs. The higher education happens faculty or students located in India. Patent and designs are only covered and not the trademarks. Filed after 1st January 2024, then registered on Kapila portal, and applications can be submitted throughout the year, and funds will be released on quarterly basis. Funding assistance for patent is maximum 100 patent applications per institution per year are considered. And what exactly is included in that? The statutory fee only. Okay. Like 100% funding support will be there. That's 100% reimbursement will be done, but only for the statutory fees. Like the patent application filing fee, that is 1,600 for the institution. Early publication on first come first serve basis. Like they have set some number of applications for the early publication and for expedited examination. So once that number is reached, they will stop accepting the forms for this early publication and expedited examination. Then examination fee, publication fee, and patent filing fee. All these fees will be included. These are the statutory fees paid by the applicant to the government. And though only statutory fees will be covered under this Kapila program, and this is for the higher education institutions. Then funding assistance for the industrial design application, maximum 20 design applications per institute per year will be accepted. 100% funding support for the statutory fee for design filing is done. So design applications funding support for filing fee, that is 1,000 rupees filing fee. We have seen in previous lecture, 1,000 rupees filing fee for filing fee will be covered. The institution needs to form the expert committee. So these are the mandatory requirements from the institution side before applying for the Kapila program. That they have to form the expert committee for evaluation. The institution needs to provide the minutes of meeting of that expert committee. Then it needs to sign the statement of expenditure for claiming the benefits. And if the faculty or student is applying, then they have to get the signatures from the institution's head, and then they can apply. Reimbursement amount will be deposited in institution's account. So we have seen the MSINS, Maharashtra State Innovation Society, Karnataka State, and then Kerala State as well. So Kerala and Telangana. So in similar lines, they provide the reimbursement support for the patents. So like rupees 2 lakhs per Indian patent or the domestic patent, rupees 10 lakhs per international patent. This includes the government fees as well as attorney fees Activities covered are provisional patent filing, patent search, drafting, filing, claims, and prosecution. Generally, these funding agencies, they don't cover the cost related to the oppositions, because the oppositions can be there once the patent or any other IP comes into the public domain. So opposition proceedings will take time, and they also involve a lot of cost there. So those costs will not be covered generally in the any of the funding programs. And also the renewal fees. Once any IP is filed and granted by the government, after that there are some maintenance fees. You have to maintain that particular IP for a particular period of time. For each IP, this time is different. And those renewal fees or maintenance fees are not covered in most of the funding programs. Like the Telangana state funding scheme is also there. The startups incorporated in Telangana, they can avail this funding scheme, rupees 2 lakhs per domestic patent, 10 lakhs per international patent. Activities covered are patent file or patent grant. These are generally applicable only for the patents and not for trademarks and designs. Then there is Patent Mitra scheme. So this is the Patent Innovations Patent Mitra. This is a initiative by ICMR, that is the expert-driven platform that supports the patent filing, prosecution, maintenance, and transfer of technologies as well for societal impact. Inventor needs to register at the portal and fill the invention disclosure. This Patent Mitra scheme, it has been launched by the ICMR. The eligibility criteria is not only for ICMR institution or the ICMR supported extramural research. It is also applicable for the medical colleges, medical institutions across the country, irrespective of any grants received by ICMR, and DPIT registered startups working in the medical. Then inventions in the field of medical technology. So this is related, this is very domain specific. None of the funding schemes are domain specific till now. They have not mentioned particularly about the domain, but in case of Patent Mitra, it is only related to the medical technology related inventions. Any startups or any institutions or research organizations in India. And this scheme is applicable only for the domestic patents and not for the international patents or the PCT. It will not cover cost involved therein. The scope of funding is patentability assessment will be done, patent filing only India they will consider, prosecution and patent maintenance also. So this particular scheme also provides the patent renewal or maintenance fee up to 5 years. Because you need to maintain the patent up to 20 years, but this particular scheme will give you the this particular scheme is applicable only for the patent maintenance up to 5 years. This is a typical flow chart of Patent Mitra process flow. The inventor and the inventor of any educational institution or the startup, they can file the invention disclosure form on which is available on their portal. You just need to fill up the invention disclosure form and take the recommendation letter from your institution head, or in case of startup, if the inventor is filling up the form, in case of startup, the CEO of the startup or the director of the startup can provide the recommendation letter. So only these two things will be required. After that, they have their empaneled IP facilitators or IP attorneys. So you have to go through their empaneled IP attorneys only. So this is not a reimbursement kind of thing, but you just need to provide the invention disclosure to them and they will take care of everything. They will first do the patentability assessment by Medical Innovations Patent Mitra scheme. And if it is not patentable invention, they will obviously issue the patentability assessment report, wherein it is mentioned that the invention is not patentable and hence we are not going ahead with drafting and filing a patent. If the invention is patentable, then the team will facilitate the patent filing for that particular invention and file the patent application. And they will also pay the prosecution fees and the maintenance fee up to 5 years. There is another funding program that is BIRAC Path. The eligibility for that is BIRAC funded startups and companies or academic institutions supported under BIRAC programs. So the grantees must apply for the drafting and filing support within the first 9 months of filing their provisional patent application through their empaneled agencies. So this is not a reimbursement kind of thing, like in case of Patent Mitra, in case of BIRAC Path also, you cannot claim the reimbursement. You have to go through their empaneled IP attorneys, and only those startups or the institutions who have received any kind of funding from the BIRAC, they can apply for this program. The background IP is not considered. For example, before applying for the BIRAC program, if you have filed patent for anything, any of your technology, so that particular patent cost will not be covered here. Only the IP which you have developed during the development of project, development of BIRAC project, then only that particular IP will be considered under this program.
Like, ma'am, after getting the BIRAC
Grant, yes. Yes. Okay. So the option one is, there are three options. Option one is complete Indian patent filing. That is covered. Then Indian filing plus convention filing in up to 3 countries. Or Indian filing and or PCT filing. So up to PCT, we don't consider it as a foreign patent. Up to PCT or Indian patent, that is third option. Second option, that is a very good option, that is related to the Indian filing plus convention filing in up to 3 countries. Up to 3 countries you can file and they will provide the assistance for that. So there is application form at BIRAC portal. BIRAC portal is there. Detailed proposal you have to submit. Additional information as and when requested you have to provide. Presentation to IP and Tech Advisory Committee will be there. So the proposal is very detailed proposal. You have to submit each and everything related to your invention as well as your path forward, the marketing, market in various territories. You need to justify your demand, So if you want to file the patent in US, why do you want to file in US? That particular thing you have to justify. So the proposal should be very detailed. Funding will be in the form of grantee name. Then proposal should contain all the required information, data, specifications, drawings, everything. Proposal must also lay out the commercialization strategies and efforts. This direction should be put to license or transfer the IP file with the BIRAC support. After getting this particular assistance, you have to sign one agreement wherein they mention that you need to share the benefit with the BIRAC at the rate of 5% of annual net sales of the products developed by the technology. Once the technology or the product comes into the market, you need to share the 5% of your sales income with the BIRAC till the amount, grant amount is covered. Till then only. For more information, you can visit these particular sites. So basically, that was up to the funding scheme. I tried to cover as far as possible. There could be any other funding schemes as well. Previously, another funding scheme was there by Department of MIT related to electronics and IT related invention. But that particular scheme is on hold, it seems, because I couldn't get anything on the website. And I also spoke with some grantees who have earlier received this grant, but they have not yet received funds from their side. Hence, that particular scheme is on hold. So the pointers for you is to get the quotation for the national phase filing earliest from the date of TCP filing. Once you file the TCP application, please get the quotation from various IP attorneys for the national phase filing as well, so that you will come to know what exactly you can plan accordingly your cost. Then prioritize and plan territories in which you have market and apply for different funding programs. Please prioritize and plan so that different funding programs are there and their requirements, eligibility criteria are also different. If you fit into those criteria, just go and apply, because it will take a lot of time to screen and then receive the funding from those schemes, Then provide detailed information during application submission. If you don't provide this detailed information, they will there is to and fro. They will ask you something. You will tell them that I will need at least 1 month to gather this particular information. It will delay the process. Okay. So provide as much as information possible at the time of filling up the application. Then patentability assessment report would be helpful to establish novelty inventive step of your invention. Before filing the complete specification, at least like provisional specification, you can file at the earliest to secure the first filing date. But you will get 12 months time to develop your invention further. During that 12 months time, just do the patentability assessment report from your IP attorney expert, so that it will highlight the novelty and inventive step of your invention, which will be very, very helpful for you when you actually submit the forms, application forms for this funding agency. It will strengthen your case. Align your commercialization strategy as well. That is very important. Prepare strong justification for national phase filing. Like if you have any collaborations over there, if you have any vendors over there, get the letters, any kind of documents from their side, so as to prove that you have market in those countries and you want to file patent in those countries. Then granted Indian patent may help to establish the strength of your case. Obviously, if you have the granted patent with you, it will strengthen your case. Like, see, my patent has during the prosecution, it has not received any objections related to the novelty, inventive step, etc. Hence, my invention is very inventive in nature. So, and the technical advancement is there, and hence it will strengthen your case for the further application. You know? So, I think that's it from my side. We can take the question.
So under the Nitin Prayas Prism grants, there is nothing for IP, right?
Actually, around 5 to 10% amount is there, which is
In the grant.
in the grant. So that during the duration of their grant, if they file any IP, they will get the that particular
They
cap
can
is
claim
there.
it.
They can claim it.
So if they get a Prayas grant say of 10 lakhs,
Yes.
5 to 10%
Yes.
can go for the
Can go.
IP filings.
Yes.
And same is true for the Prism grant also. As organization design registration government fees 4,000. Does Kapila refund the
Yes.
4K?
Yes. Actually, they refund because that they have mentioned 1,000 over there. I tried to contact them over phone call and email why they have mentioned this, but I think they should cover this 4,000 rupees.
Another question is trademark reimbursement by Ministry of MSME is per trademark or overall?
Ministry of MSME.
MSME.
First. Yeah. So he
Trademark reimbursement is per trademark
trademark
or
or
overall?
per overall. Yes. So this is basically per IP they have mentioned. Per IP, whatever it is, per trademark, per patent, or per design.
In 5 lakhs INR, it will perhaps only
But please note that it should be granted
after grant.
after grant. Yeah.
So what is the usual time period for reimbursement?
Yeah, the usual time period, it may vary from 5 to 10 or 12 months as well. Because it will take a long time because of screening, the application, the committee will be there and they will ask you for various documents to prove your case. So it will take a long time.
One more question regarding PCT. After getting positive response from PCT, how can I find funding for entering member states? Is the fee less for startup entity? Are there any fee reductions for startups?
Yes, once you file the PCT, as I have mentioned, various schemes are there wherein the PCT cost is also covered and the foreign patent cost is also covered. Foreign patent in the sense when you enter into the national phases at the end of 30th month, See, this timeline is there. After the end of 30th month, you need to enter into the various national phases. So at the end of 12th month, like filing of PCT application, for that also, you will get funding from certain schemes. And at the end of 30th month, once you enter into the various national phases, at that time also, you will get funding from various schemes, as I have mentioned, wherein I have mentioned the foreign patent filing. That is related to the national phase filing. And particularly some schemes the eligibility of certain schemes is only for the startups and SMEs as well. Only one scheme is there for educational institutions.
You can just go to the last slide where your contact details are there.
Yes.
Also, before we take opening for any more questions, let me alert everyone. The feedback link is in the chat box. Please do give us your feedback before you leave this session. For the people here, we will share the feedback link with you. Any questions here? I've taken the ones that you.
Patents.
No, I have not come across any. Private fund in the sense, what do you mean by that?
It's like investments, angel investors.
No, only for filing IP, by, whether in.
Can the question be repeated, please?
Private, yeah, please repeat your questions.
Any private support other than the government schemes for the patent filings.
So when you raise an investment for your company, you can use it whichever way you want, right? So you can use it for IP and so on and so forth. It's an investment in the company, right? Private entities usually do not, I mean, it's not an equivalent of a grant there. It's an investment, right? Now, but there may be grant programs which accommodate some, as Archana said, some amount of money for IP filings, right? So BIG might accommodate that. Sometimes even CSR support may allow you to use some of the money for IP filings, but it will not be the majority of it. It will be a small part of it. Does it answer your question?
Sir, thank you.
Archana, someone wants you to explain the Kapila scheme once.
Okay. So this scheme is for higher education institutes, faculty or students who are located in India, and it provides the assistance for patent and design application filed after 1st January 2024. Once you file the patent or design, then you can fill up the application form. The funds will be released on quarterly basis, but it is open throughout the year. So you can fill up the form at any time. You have to register on the Kapila portal. That is a mandatory thing. You may need to produce the educational institution certificate or all other documents related to your IP filing, receipts, bills, invoices, etc. at the time of filling up the application form. The funding assistance provided is 100 patent application per institute per year. So this is the cap, that maximum 100 patent application per institute per year they can provide the funding for, and 100% reimbursement is there only for the statutory fees and not the attorney fees. So the statutory fees, these are the fees which you pay at the government office, the patent office, design office or trademark office at the time of filing and prosecution. So this is the only thing covered in case of patent and designer. The requirement for this is the institution needs to form the expert committee for evaluation of patent application. So the guidelines which have guidelines are available on the website of Kapila. The how to form this expert committee, who all will be there, and the number of committee members, etc. So you have to form the committee, screen the application at the institute level only, and then you, based on your recommendation, you can just fill up the application form. The recommendation minutes of meeting are required along with the application form. Why are you recommending this particular invention for filing the patent or for filing the design application? These kind of things are necessary. I think I have answered that.
There's one more question. Can we make license of the patent filing or grant?
Yes, you can license your patent once you file a patent or the patent is granted. You can do so. But what is your question? I don't understand. Whether it is related to the funding. Maybe he can unmute and ask.
Vijay, you can ask your question. Vijay, are you able to unmute?
I think Archana, let me take a shot at it. I think he's asking at what point you are allowed to license a patent, okay? License out a patent to somebody else. And basically, you can license out know-how and rights associated with the patent at any time. It can even be done before the grant of a particular patent. But there'll be clauses which might be conditional on it being granted and so on and so forth, granted later. But that said, it is possible to sign a licensing agreement at any stage, even before the grant. Okay. Hope that answers that question.
Yeah, any more questions here?
I think there's a question about PPT of today's talk.
Yeah.
Will be available.
Share it.
And this video will be available on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to go back and refer to it as well. Okay.
Screen now shows also the QR code for the feedback. That scan it and give your feedback. There are no more questions. Let us thank Archana for this huge space which she has covered, so many options. And of course, for further questions, Archana's email address is also there in the chat box. So please feel free to reach out to her for any more queries you have. Our next talk in the Only One Thing will be on 10th of February. So you will get an intimation before that. And as you know, it's a one-time sign up. So all those who have signed up for today's session, you will get an automatic reminder for the next session, which will be on 10th of February. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Archana.
Thank
And
you.
let us
Thank you for
close.
giving that one. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Stand the
Yes.